Hi there, I'm Dave Elsey, aka Mischief, and this is the Conspiracy Cupboard. Let's look at DMT, shall we? Hi there, and welcome back to the Conspiracy Cupboard. I hope you all had a great Yule, Christmas, whatever you want to call it, and a fantastic New Year. And let's hope 2023 will be a great year for all of us. So today's video then is the one I've been waiting for, is the DMT trials that have been held at the Imperial College in London, done with Small Pharma and the Imperial College research team. And this is important really because it's not just DMT that they're studying. They're the first place to ever use LSD and basically scan and image the brain while people were on LSD to see the effects and map the effects on the brain. They're the first to study psilocybin, which is what I want to get into in this video as well, which is obviously the active compound in magic mushrooms, fly agaric, things like that. So the point of this video, hopefully, as well, is to educate people a little bit on psilocybin, on LSD, on things like DMT and what they're being used for, and take away any notions of harm or ill effects from these drugs, basically. And to show you the research that's been done and the stages that they're at the moment on the DMT research and on the psilocybin research as well. So the main cause for the psilocybin research that they're doing at the moment in DMT is into things like depression, severe trauma, PTSD. Now these compounds have actually been proven in studies that show they help people combat PTSD, depression, anxiety. They have been used by numerous people in the armed forces. Now that they're slowly bringing them into this research to help them overcome any fears or trepidations they have, or any PTSD symptoms that they have when they come back from overseas or whatever they've been doing. Also people like police officers, firemen, nurses, doctors. This isn't something that's that should be looked upon or frowned upon in any sort of way. Psilocybin mushrooms, DMT, they've all had profound effects on people. None of them negative. I know some, if you've ever taken mushrooms, I know in the UK at the moment they are a illegal drug. They were only made legal in 2015, which I'm not exactly sure why. I'll be getting into a petition that I'm actually launching, and I would like your help from at the end of this video. So here we go then. So then the studies they've already done have laid the groundwork and put in place for larger scale works in groups, including the breakthrough neuroimaging research on psilocybin, MDMA and DMT, the psychoactive compounds found in ecstasy and ayahuasca, respectively. So earlier this year, a group began a new trial directly comparing psilocybin therapy with conventional antidepressant drugs in patients with depression, a study for which they are still recruiting volunteers. So if you'd like to be a volunteer for this, go onto the website for the Imperial College London, and it will tell you all about their research there. It will tell you about what stages they're at and what kinds of volunteers they're looking for. Now, if you, like me, would like to change the world in some way and try and impart a better way of life for everybody, and not in some kind of fanciful way that can never be done, but things like this and research into these and letting us actually use these compounds, whether it's just for prescription purposes, so you can actually go to the doctor and get prescribed psilocybin, or whether it's for recreational use as well, which I would really like to see, as long as there's measures put in place. A quote from Dr. Carhart Harris: it may take a few years for psychedelic therapy to be available for patients, But research so far has been very encouraging. Early stage clinical research has shown that when delivered safely and professionally, psychedelic therapy holds a great deal of promise for treating some very serious mental health conditions and may one day offer a new hope to vulnerable people with limited treatment options. So that's from one of the doctors there that's actually doing the trials. So, like I say, you can participate in these trials. I believe they've been through stage 1 trials already with psilocybin, and they are doing the trials now with DMT. I believe the trials there are being done intravenously. Now, if you don't know a lot about DMT, then let's fill you in on what it is. So DMT then, N,N-dimethyltryptamine, is a classic psychedelic molecule that has been ingested as part of shamanic traditions for hundreds of thousands of years. DMT occurs naturally in dozens of plants species, although not usually in amounts large enough to ingest. Smoking the plant would have psychological effects. So then it can be smoked, it can be drank as long as there is a monoinoxidase inhibitor present to allow the DMT to break down in the system, and it can also be fed intravenously as well, which is what they are doing in the trials at the moment. So some people theorize that DMT is released in the human brain at death and is stored in the pineal gland. It is possible that certain spiritual experience like breath work can induce a similar experience to DMT. DMT can easily be extracted from plants to make pure DMT crystals, which can be smoked on its own or used to make pharmaceutica or changa. Now, I believe changa is what they were using in the forest with yopo, basically. So we'll look into some of the plants that can make it. Obviously, you can't get any of these plants here. And if you were to look into this yourself and make something, it's not me to tell you to make any of this stuff. I'm just giving you information on what the trials are doing at the moment. Like I said, the trials at the minute, they are doing intravenous injections to give a longer trip. Now, a normal trip when it's smoked lasts about 12 to 15 minutes at the most. And you basically get rocketed to this other dimension or this other plane of existence where you are met with beings and things that talk to you and give you information and guide you. And from what most people have come back, and in fact nearly every one of the experiences are pretty much very the same. They come back with an enlightened or more open way of thinking. So the top 5 DMT containing plants. So many DMT containing plants can be legally purchased depending on where you live, even in countries where DMT is illegal. Obviously, it's the extraction process and then making it into DMT, like growing cannabis and basically making that into smokable cannabis, is the illegal part. If you live in the UK, anyway. It can sometimes be legal to buy DMT containing plants as long as you're not using them to extract DMT or make psychedelic substances like ayahuasca. Now, ayahuasca is the drinkable form that's mainly used and mostly used in spiritual trips, and this is used in the Amazon. Now, the people in the Amazon said that they got the information to combine the 2 specific plants that make ayahuasca from the yopo trance, which is sort of similar to the effects of smoking it, I believe, and it's a similar short-lived experience, and the shamans and people in the rituals would be using the yopo. And it's believed that the spirits in the yopo basically communicated to them to how to mix the 2 plants together to get a better, longer experience that they could then pass on and share and get the knowledge from that side. If you believe, obviously, and that's where DMT takes you, or that's where a psilocybin can sort of send your mind to another spiritual plane or another level of existence. So here are some of the most popular plants that the natural source of DMT, many of which you can order online depending on where you live. Remember to check your local laws. While you may be allowed to order these plants online and grow them at home, it is possibly illegal for you to extract the DMT from them to prepare for ingestion. So unfortunately, until they make it legal, you can't go on the trip legally unless you fly to Amazon or somewhere that allows you to do it and have the experience. And we'll get into that in a little bit. So Charunga, Sictoria viritis. So chagunga is one of the most popular added mixtures in ayahuasca brews. It's a large shrub that is originated in the Amazon. So like I say, unless you've got a plane, you ain't going to go and get this. It's grown across South and Central America. It produces large green leaves that contain significant quantity, around 1% dried weight of DMT. Traditionally, leaves are added to a boiling pot of the Banatopsis capi vines, and the liquid is reduced to a thick, dark liquid, created one of the most common forms of ayahuasca. The combination of the DMT from P. viridis with the MOIS in B. capi makes for the psychedelic synthesis, where DMT can stay in the body longer than it would normally. And I believe it's released slowly over a period of 2 to 3 to 4 hours, where you are then sort of induced into the trip and the experience. So interestingly then, for another medicinal use, the liquid from the fresh P. viridis leaves can be used traditionally as a form of eye drops to treat migraines and headaches. So then we have Germura, which is Mimosa hostilis, also known as Mimosa telephiloria. This is a bushy tree that can grow up to 8 meters tall. Germania grows throughout Central and South America, and its root bark is used as medicine and an hallucinogen, so basically an hallucinogenic. So then the powdered bark has been reported to be a useful painkiller, and is traditionally rubbed against burns or wounds, and has also been used as an aphrodisiac, as a general health tonic. The root of the Germania contains around 1% DMT, and is a favourite among DMT extractors because it is relatively easy to obtain in large quantities. So then you've got the Yopo, which is Andimentaria perigenia seeds. So they're basically the seeds of the tree, and it's a tree that originates in South America again. It also grows in the Caribbean. The tree produces large, dark brown seeds that contain the psychoactive molecules DMT, 5-MeO DMT, and butyrophytane. Traditionally, opiates were roasted and ground up into a powder, the chocobo, which is then snorted and produces the euphoric rituals, basically, and what the shamans would be using. And then you've got Chapalongia, Deportelis cabreria, which only grows in the Amazon basin again. So most of these, are South American based or Amazonian based. So you can see why a lot of their rituals pertain to, spirits and talking to elves and seeing things, on their journeys, and they're all having the similar experiences through DMT. So then you've got acacia plants as well. Now acacia, everyone should know this from religion, the acacia bush. That was the burning bush that Moses spoke to God when he got the 10 Commandments. So, there's a lot of talk through there. I mean, there's 1% DMT in the acacia bark and leaves, but other alkaloids are present. The root contains around 1% DMT. The trees, leaves and barks, the Acacia diperium, is around 1% as well. And Acacia simplex, around 1 to 2% DMT. So you can see why some people might think that if there was a burning bush, he probably was talking to God. If he was inhaling the fumes from there and somehow, went on a trip to speak to God. So the other side of the DMT research then is that they are looking into whether this is a actual plane of existence that we can transmute and walk on. So hopefully that will be something that we can get some information about and find out if the experience are the same, if these entities are there, and if it is another level of, not just level of consciousness, but another plane of existence, basically, for us to go to. So obviously, if you're interested in the research that they're doing and would like to be a volunteer, please go and check out the Imperial College London website. They are looking for volunteers right now for different studies, for ayahuasca, for DMT, for the psilocybin studies on mushrooms as well. So if you'd like to help out there, please go and sign up. On a separate note, I do have a petition that I am launching for the legalisation of cannabis and hallucinogenics in this country, the UK. It's one of about 1 million petitions that have already been put up before, and most of them been rejected. Some of them are still open for debate at the moment, so if you can go on there and sign up. Some of them have shut down. So I've decided to do something about it myself and start a petition there. Now, what I would like is if you could email the conspiracykupboard@gmail.com. I'll put the link up here with your just a hello, and we will send you a link to this petition that you can sign, and hopefully we can get this changed. Now, I'm hoping that with the studies that they're doing at the moment in the UK, and we are pioneering these studies on hallucinogenics, so why aren't we using them here? I mean, they've already had reports back that these studies are helping people immensely straight away in the first trials. So why can't we open that here? And why can't we actually educate people properly on the use of these substances and actually make it legal? And all these people that say, oh, you can't make it legal, it would never work. Of course it will. It works in the US. It works in Holland. It's worked there for fucking years, and the revenue that we'd be getting back, and cafes that you could open, warehouses that you'd be growing cannabis in and things, or growing mushrooms and use for, these places you can open up retreats for people to go to have psychedelic experiences in a actual safe environment for people as well, so you don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of pounds, to have experiences and things, and to allow people's spirituality to let through. I know most of it's because they're scared of us thinking for ourselves or doing things like that, but alcohol causes more damage than any other drug in the world, and that's a fact, and that is legal pretty much everywhere. And like I've said, you'd put some kind of law on it for over 21s, where you wouldn't be able to smoke it or do psychedelics until there. Same with alcohol, not allowed to drink it till you're over 21 something, and actually educate our children properly on these substances and the use of them and how they should be used and what they're for, and sort out the school and education system and use all the taxes from all these new things to actually fund proper schools and education, and teaching kids how to farm and grow things and build stuff and make things, so that if anything ever happened and our site is shut down, our children could just go out there tomorrow and start it again. That's the idea behind my proposal for the legalization of these drugs, as they call them. Spiritual awakenings, I would call them myself. So, like I said, please send me an email to the link above. I'll put it up there. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Before I go, I will just let you know there is a very special episode coming up soon, and we have got some great UFO videos coming up and bits about it. We have got a trip coming up to Bonsall, which is the village not far from where I live, in Matlock, where they have the most UFO reported sightings in the UK at the moment. So I'm going to be having a trip there. I'm going to see if I can get some information from some of the villagers, see if they've seen anything, see if I can find a lady that apparently has a video of one of the UFOs that was caught there, and see if I can dig up some of these reports and see if we can catch anything while we're there overnight, filming the skies and having a bit of fun. So join us then. We've got the Malcolm Bendal video coming up as well, looking into his research and seeing if it's actually feasible and see if he's an actual genuine guy. This is the guy that was mentioned on Joe Rogan Experience with Carl Randall and Graham Hancock. We've got more videos coming up about the Younger Dryas Impact Hypothesis and the great stuff that's been found at the Boneyard. There was an interview with Joe Rogan the other day with the guy that's from there. So we've got loads of these exciting videos coming up. So have a look into the DMT research and the psilocybin research for yourselves. Please send me your email address and let's see if we can get this petition going properly in an actual ordered, structured way and a logical explanation of why we should be doing this and why it should be our decision as citizens of this country and not their decision. It should be our decision of whether we do this. And yeah, let's see if we can catch some UFOs over the skies of Derbyshire. Like I say, if you've got any pictures or photos or anything you want to send in, send us to the email address above as well. And yeah, well, Happy New Year, guys. Thank you very much, and I will see you later. Mischief